Hey guys, and welcome to the 7.9.6 update that we just released. Now, a lot of what is included in this update has to do with payments. So let's actually start over in integrations to begin talking about this. Now, this will be rolled out for Stripe and Square eventually, but as of right now, we're just rolling this out for Stripe. So we'll just hone in right now on our Stripe users. And we have these new options that we're introducing. So of course, exactly as it has been working before, you can process card payments. That is completely unchanged. But now we are bringing in these new options here. So you can do basically a bank transfer, an ACH payment, AfterPay, and Affirm. So this would, of course, be just linking the customer's bank account to allow for a wiring of that money. And you can see that that comes in at just a 0.8% transaction fee up to $5. So very, very low transaction fees for a bank transfer. And then AfterPay and Affirm, these are both very similar platforms. These are basically buy now, pay later platforms for your customer, and they'll just pay installations to these different companies depending on what you end up using here. And you can see the fees associated with these. Both of them are coming in at 6%, so a little bit higher for that. The main difference between AfterPay and Affirm here would be that with AfterPay, this is for anything under $2,000, and for Affirm, this is for really anything from something like $50 all the way up through $30,000. So this allows for some more expensive jobs if you guys are offering anything like that. But Afterpay is going to be the default as long as the total of the job is under $2,000. Now, you can also see that you do have the ability to turn these off. You can turn off just, one or more of them. That's totally up to you if you don't want to provide any of these options. So that can be done, again, here in integrations in the preferences section of this Stripe block here. So now let's go ahead and see how this looks in action. So let me go ahead and click into a job here. So let's just go ahead into this one, and I'm going to add a payment. Down under payment method, I'm going to select Stripe in this case, but you can see Square is also an option. But I'm going to select Stripe here. And this looks roughly the same as it always has. You have this thing scanning for existing payment methods in case there are any. We, of course, have the tap, insert, or swipe card option if you have a card reader. We still have the send payable invoice option, as we always have, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. But this new button here, payment form. Now this is going to look very, very similar to what would come up when you hit the manually enter card, which was what that button used to say. But now this is introducing those new options that we were just talking about. So of course, if you want to enter a card number, you can still do that exactly as you always have. Same thing with things like Google Pay and Apple Pay. That's already existed as well, and that's still here. But now you can see these new options. Now, keep in mind, Affirm is the only one that's showing here because this job is over $2,000. If this was under $2,000, then Afterpay would be showing in here as well. But then you also, of course, have the bank account option up here. And just to show you, if you were to send this out as a payable invoice, these same exact options are presented to the customer in that as well. So I sent one to myself here so you can see what this looks like. And you'll see this is going to load the same payment form that we were just looking at. This job is, again, over $2,000, so the only Afterpay or buy now, pay later option will be Affirm, as you can see here. So same exact payment form that the customer would get if you sent out a payable invoice, or if you just want to do this internally, if the customer is there with you in person. Now, to go through this process, let's go ahead and start with the bank account process. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. This is going to prompt the customer, and again, the same exact thing would be happening over on their own interface if you sent this out to them, to enter in their email, their full name, and then their bank account. So let me go ahead and fill this out here. And I'm just going to select this test institution since I am in the development version, but otherwise you would be able to type in your bank there. All right, and then this is going to have the customer click agree. Then it will have them choose which account that they want to connect to. So I'm just going to click on this one here. And now you can see that this account has been successfully linked. So then we're going to continue with Urable. We're going to hit this Pay Now button. And it'll still prompt the customer with that same tipping screen. Again, that same exact thing would happen on a payable invoice as well. And they can, of course, add a tip on if they would like to, sign off on that, and pay for it. Okay, so all of that is still looking the same here. Now, this is going to bring us right into the payment page. Again, exactly as it always has been, but now you can see that there is this new payment status, processing. So we do want to show you when this payment is processing versus when it is actually gone through successfully. So you'll see up here in a second, this is going to change from processing to paid. That process should be pretty quick. But then from the point that it's paid to when it actually gets paid out to your bank account, so from your Stripe account to your bank account, that will take between 4 to 5 days. So it'll be a little bit slower than taking a card payment, but 4 to 5 days out from the point of taking that payment. Okay, so now you can see here that that has just changed from processing to paid. So now you know that that has at least hit your Stripe account at this point, and then the processing time from there for that to actually hit your bank account has begun. So that is what that would look like for a bank transfer here, and you can of course see that that is logged in this little page here. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the buy now, pay later options. So I'm going to go ahead and click into another job here. And you can see that this job in particular has a total that's under $2,000, so you can see both of those AfterPay options in there, both AfterPay and Affirm. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this is that the customer who's going to be paying with either AfterPay or Affirm will need to have created an AfterPay or Affirm account prior to making this payment, because they're really just going to be prompted to link an already existing account. So let's go ahead and add a payment here. We'll go through Stripe, and then we'll go through payment form. But again, keep in mind this is still available if you're sending out a payable invoice for the customer to do this online. All right, now you'll see it'll pull up all of these options, and we can see that we have both Affirm and AfterPay listed in here because this is under $2,000. Both of them apply to that, but you still have all those same exact options as before: Google Pay, the bank account, and the card. But let's go ahead and go through AfterPay. The process between AfterPay and Affirm is really, really similar. So I'll just go ahead and go through one here. So the customer will be prompted to input their email and their name. So I'll go ahead and do that here. All right, and then I'm going to hit Pay Now. And this is still going to prompt me to leave a tip and sign off on this. So I'll go ahead and do that here. And now this is going to process and take us into the payment page, but then really it's going to be routing the customer out to the AfterPay website. In this case, I'm in the development account, so I'm just going to authorize this. But essentially, it's going to take your customer over to either the AfterPay or Affirm website to have them log in to that account. So then that can be officially transacted. And then you'll be routed back into the payment form. And you can see that this has been marked as paid. We have the tip, we have the signature, all that stuff. And you can see that this is listed as AfterPay. And on that website, the customer will also be able to select, sort of how they want their payments to be structured. And then that will be handled purely by AfterPay in this case, or Affirm if you choose Affirm. So these companies are paying you directly right away, but then the customer will be paying them back in whatever payment structure they would want to set up for that. Okay, so that is all we need to talk about with payments. And then one other small thing that is included in this update has to do with employees. So I'll go ahead and click into myself and then click into earnings. And you'll see that we now have a filter and export button for this earnings page, whether you're in hours, if they're an hourly rate employee, commission, if they're a commission-based employee, or if you need to get exports for tips. So all of these you can now export into a CSV file. All right, now if you guys have questions on anything that we talked about in this video here, feel free to reach out to us anytime, but we hope you enjoyed this update.